excited to be back here in the studio. But we're not taking calls yet, you guys. I like the energy though. Honestly, I love the energy because I trust my family members. They're just gonna come through and have this conversation with me. But we're not taking calls yet. We're gonna have a guest with us on this in this interview, or would I say in this conversation. So 5 days ago, the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, he said flood comes from God, and that has, I mean, it's gotten some sort of mixed reactions from social media. I mean, you know how Nigerians will always like pull in when they hear stuff like this. So this comes after some communities across Nigeria and even Lagos State being submerged in flood, causing over 1.4 million people to be displaced and affected over 2.5 million people. I'm talking about people displaced, people that lost their properties, they lost their source of income, people that actually died. The flood has triggered cholera outbreak, especially in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. The flood situation is closer than you think, and that conversation definitely must be heard. This evening, I did see a circular, or would I say a letter from the Lagos State government speaking about this. I mean, that shows how serious it is. So I'm going to try and take a few of what was written in that letter. So it says the Lagos State issues fresh updates for residents of Ikoyi, Lekki, Victoria Island, and others. So this is the situation of the government reiterating that the earlier flood advisory issued by the state to the effect that all those on the bank of Ogun River, particularly those who reside in Ketu, those who reside in Alakpere, Agric, Owode Oniri, Ajegunle, Kara, Isheri Olowora, Araromi, I mean, long list of those, would I say, areas. They are supposed to remain vigilant at this flood, especially because the rain situation, it seems very persistent. So joining me on this conversation is my guest. Yes, his name is Munir Adams. He's a climate justice advocate and also an environmentalist. He's going to be joining me on this one. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Kofo. Good evening.
Hi,
Yes,
hi.
loud and clear.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
I am doing great.
So sorry. So sorry. I mean, we just spoke a few minutes ago. You're telling me how Lagos was Lagosing you. Traffic, yeah.
Yes, yes, a whole lot. The usual Lagos we all know.
I'm so sorry about that. So Munir Adams, how are you doing? You want to tell us? I mean, we know that you're a climate and justice advocate and also an environmentalist. Do you want to tell us again? I mean, you might own the World Bank. You can tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, great. So, I guess you must have read my profile because I was not on when you were doing that. So, I'll just go further to say I basically work a lot in the development space and
Okay.
just trying to solve for environmental issues that most vulnerable communities face because a lot of times the people in the front line of the harmful effects of climate change, that is the first in line so they take the effects of global warming, rising sea levels, and all of that are
Mm,
those in vulnerable communities because they have less capacity to actually adapt and maybe move locations and go to areas that are less open to the effects of climate change. So
mm,
yeah, that's most. I mostly work around projects that tend to empower these people, help them act in their own little way. But when you put those little small actions of those communities together, it amounts to something at the end of the day.
mm.
So yeah,
All right then. All right then. So the first question I would like to ask you is to react to what the Minister of Water Resources said that flood comes from God. Does flood really come from God? Because I want to understand. Honestly, I really want to understand. Does flood really come from God?
what really comes from God?
This does
I did
flood
not get the question.
does flood really come from God? Is this a situation of
What?
time of Noah? Let's just name forbidden acts.
Interesting, but the funny thing about that statement is that we are actually not building our own ark, even though we
Mm.
tend to have this strong belief. So, what I mean by we are not building our own ark is we are not putting in place measures and the infrastructure needed to actually combat most of this flooding we are witnessing
Oh my, you're actually
in
breaking. Can
society
you
of
take
since
that?
about 1983.
Can you take that again? You were
Okay,
breaking at a point.
is this better?
Yeah, it's better now. It's better now.
Okay, so I was trying to speak to the fact that we are not building our own act, even though someone is claiming that yes, the flooding is from God. We had the opportunity to actually put the infrastructure in place to actually minimize the effects of this flood. Today flooded. We have Venice going under. So it's built on water, basically the entire city. We have to kill, but what have they been able to do, and what are they doing to really? I think that is the major difference between trying to. So it's not like trying to shift responsibility. So
Mm.
we say, oh yes, now we can. At least every year we witness it, and every year it passes. So that find quite detrimental to hold in a situation such as this because it stops us from acting and doing the things we need to do to either reduce the impact of the crisis because
Mm.
at this point the crisis cannot really be cancelled out. Yes, flooding will happen naturally, even climate change happens naturally. But
Mm.
the problem we are having today is that the rate at which these things are occurring faster than nature can actually
Exactly.
adapt to the
Mm.
changes.
Mm.
Yes, so that's the issue. So that's my take on the ministry.
We need to build our own act. I see some comments here
Yeah.
on WhatsApp already. I'm going to take it very, very soon. You can send me your reactions and your questions to our WhatsApp line, 0700 I beg your pardon. Let me say that again. 0700 That is only for WhatsApp messages. We can't take calls at the moment, but maybe after this conversation, we're going to take calls and questions. Okay, so there's also another would I say comment here. I mean, it was said that the reason why there's a lot of flood, there's a lot of water in these axes, the cities close to the river Niger, is because there was this dam in Cameroon that they opened up the floods and like just allowed the flood coming. So there's all of that speculation. But I'm like, is it that before now there's no other way, there's no other passage for that water to go through? Must it come through the rivers, like the Nigerian rivers, to affect these places? Because I see houses literally submerged. Like I could see the entrance of the house and I could see water there. I'm like, wait, what is going on? Is it like there was no other passage? There was no other way for the water to go through, and then the water just went through. And again, like, are they not supposed to be, would I say, parastatals, infrastructures in place for this actually happen? Or is it like the first time? Or like, where did the water come from?
Okay. Co- so the issue is uh, let me not say it's complex. It's quite straightforward. I think
Okay.
that dam is Latdo Dam in Rome. Because for every for every water we have passing through our drains and to larger water bodies. So there is a path to pass. So what Cameroon is doing, and with the position of where the Latdo Dam is, it has to pass through. I think the River Benue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's just it runs off that way. So why most of the villages are flooded? Yes, we experience a lot of flooding, and with every year it becomes worse due to the impact of climate changes itself. Because it is actually taking in more than it is supposed to. And the back to building an ark, every time there is about to be a release of the when the Cameroonian government is supposed to actually inform the Nigerian government that, oh, this is what we are about to do, so
Mm.
you should prepare your people and all of that. But beyond that, the responsibility on us was also to build a dam on our own end,
We were supposed to be the
plus
dam
to
on our own
reduce
end. Okay.
the impact of, yes, exactly, which was supposed to also generate about three, I'm not sure the numbers now, but we're supposed to generate electricity, and it was, of course, by default, that would jobs and certain economic activities around where that dam is
It will be
located. But we
built.
failed to do that, and we are actually living through the failures of not putting the right things in place. So, yeah, I think that's the thing with the Lagdo Dam, and yeah.
I mean, we don't even have IDP camps and all of that, but that's another conversation entirely.
Well,
Let's talk about the. Uh, I mean, there's also a very strong, or would I say, a widespread of cholera outbreak in those regions because the water is being affected, and also malaria. Yeah. So, what are the other effects, or would I say, talking about climate change from the aspect of, would I say, using the climate and what is going on now? Is it like it's going to dry up soon, or do we need the level of sun, or do we need to, like, what can we actually do, knowing that we're already in this place, knowing that we're already having a flood situation that is taking lives, that is taking businesses, that is taking
mhm.
people's means of livelihood? Like, what is the way forward? Did you get me? Hello?
Okay, so the information changes. It causes extreme weather area. So,
You're
yes,
breaking real bad. Hello?
I did. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Okay, you know what? Let me see if I can put him on a call again because it was breaking real bad, and I really want us to enjoy this conversation. 0700 903 9039. You can send me a message. I have a couple of messages here on WhatsApp, and I'm going to be taking them and, of course, getting to know his reaction. We're speaking to Munir Adams, who is a climate justice advocate and an environmentalist. He is the content and strategy lead at Abstract BMC, volunteered at organizations such as Food Bank Initiative, amongst others. So let's put him up on a call. But this is really, really interesting because I feel like we're not talking about it enough. Losing People are actually losing their businesses. I saw a video of a lady today literally crying. I think it was in Bielsa also because it's pretty high in Bielsa. And I'm like, wait, what is happening? What is going on? Nobody's talking about it. Like, there's no. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, you're back.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Perfectly.
Yes. Okay.
Perfectly. Please go on. I can hear you now.
Great. So, two things basically. Okay. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So two things. One is on climate change and the effects based on the question you asked, and the second is the messaging around climate change itself.
Mm.
A lot of say, oh, what are these people talking about? They say climate change. Well, it's not my business. I have more serious issues to actually contend with as an average Nigerian.
Can you take that again, please?
And
Can you take that again?
that is because it's regarding the people how we take care of it. Really, no. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Can you take that again? Your network is really doing the most tonight.
apologies.
It's fine.
They've been off the weekend. Yeah. Can I go on?
Yes, please go on.
Okay, so I was saying the messaging around climate change is one which needs to change from,
Hmm.
oh, this is yes, it's a disaster, but a lot of
Hello. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Nothing beats a physical interview. Okay, let's see if we can put one last call to him and then we'll see how that goes. I have a message here. This one is from, oh, this is very funny though. Very funny response here. This person goes on to say, this one is Onitira. Oh, it's actually sending pictures of an actual situation. Oh my goodness. You need to see this video. So it went on to say, Nigerians always find humor in things. I don't know why. Maybe it's entirely like it's deposited in our DNA, but we just have a way to just find humor in everything. It says we need Alapata Ako because you see this drainage in places like Agor area. Them don't sell them. If you see video on my phone, you will fear. We need serious intervention because of the floods of Agor is deadly. Since September 12th, my school resumed. Kilimanjaro water has not dried up because there's no drainage. And then he went on to send videos and pictures. Oh my goodness. This is Onitiri in Agor. I still have to drive my school bus past front of this red car to pick kids. Oh my goodness. Like this is if there's nothing that scares you in all of this, maybe you need to actually see and experience this because people are having to deal with this day in, day out. Hello?
yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. I think it's better now.
Okay.
Just stay there. Don't move. Are you standing on your fridge? Just stay there.
Yeah, I'm actually standing on the roof.
Please stay like that. Don't move. Please go on. Please go on.
Okay. Okay, so I was just trying to draw out 2 points about climate change does one interesting. It actually impacts the people. If a place is used to rainfall, it makes the rainfall more intense. If it's used to cold, it makes the cold more intense. If it's if it's a hot location, it makes it even more hot. That's why we have desertification, we have rising sea levels, and we have this many things. All while the Earth itself, the
Mm,
average temperature is rising. So then I was also trying to draw to the messaging around climate change itself and how it is being framed because a lot of people when you tell them oh climate change they just tune off. They don't even want to know. They are not interested.
mm.
And this has been there has been a lot of um, their point has actually been validated based on how COVID was managed. A lot of people still do not believe that oh COVID is real or it actually happened,
It happened.
especially in this
Mm,
part of the world.
mm.
So you bring in the message of oh this is a disaster that is waiting to happen or that is even already happening, it is very hard for people to comprehend. And that is going back to the discourse on oh this is something from God. It is easier to actually accept the message that oh this is from God than it being something that is actually your responsibility and you need to
Can you manage?
actually take
Hmm.
yes and you need to actually manage this thing. So basically, the issues around climate change, while we are seeing the effects, yes, then we are telling people it is still a very hard message to sell to
Hmm.
people because of all these other compounding issues that are actually around it. So yeah.
So there's nothing we can do. There's like nothing we as a
Okay, talking
community,
talking about
but we can.
solutions.
Yes, we need to find
Yes, of
solutions.
course. Definitely. So in let me I always try to reference this to UNICEF's manual for teaching sustainable development, and they have 3 A's basically. One is awareness, second is action, and the third is accountability. So the first thing is that people need to know what is actually the problem. Do we even know and understand that this thing is actually a
A problem.
problem
Hmm.
in the first place. So that is the first
You are moving
thing.
away from where you
Able
were
to
standing. Oh.
identify and become taking action. And how can we?
Don't move. You're breaking
No, I'm
already.
still here.
Okay, just stay there.
Oh
Don't
my
move.
god. Can,
Please go on. Please go on.
can, okay. Okay, great. So in about action now, right? So action can take many forms. Personally, you can decide to cut down on certain things. You can cut down on meat because this I would need to go into a different talk on how the meat industry contributes a lot of methane and other greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, and
Really?
it's a long talk, and I don't want to bore.
No, no,
Yeah,
you
yes,
can
yes.
tell us surface
Actually, that's
level,
why
so
we
we'll know
have.
if we're not going to be eating meat. If meat is the reason why we're having this flood situation, we can just start eating fish or something. I mean, we can find an alternative that works and is both protein. So, you know,
Yes. So the meat industry actually produces a lot of methane gas due to from the excreta of the animals and some of their other processes, basically in processing the meat. But mostly it's from the animals itself, and methane is one of the biggest contributors, the greenhouse gases. So what the greenhouse gases do is that we all learnt about the ozone layer in school, right? And we
yeah,
were told that the ozone layer is like a roof that is protecting the earth from like
the sun.
direct sunlight
Yeah.
because if yes from the sun. So and it is like this methane and other greenhouse gases are eating into this
Ozone
roof
layer.
that we have over us that is covering. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
And that contributes, yes, so that contributes to even more global warming, making the earth warmer. And as the earth becomes warm, as water becomes warm, it expands. So that is part of where we have rising sea levels from. The more water gets heated, the more it expands. So it needs to occupy more space. That is the one in the ocean. And we also have melting glaciers. So once they melt, they fall into the sea, they become water because they are ice. So they
Hmm.
also contribute to. So you can see it is like a chain that is
Yeah,
connected.
it's a
Then it will now
circle.
come back. Yes, it's a circle actually, cycle. So we will now still come back to the issues around flooding, where when the sea level rises and you have runoff water that is supposed to go into the sea, that is the water that is taken from our drainages.
Hmm.
Because the sea level rises, it can't actually go into the sea, it stops. So it's like the sea, because of the rise in that thing, it blocks the water from inland or from the mainland from going into the sea, which and the water has to find a way of discharging itself. So it comes back into our homes and all that. That is like a different line of action of how flooding actually occurs. So even at that, it can be expanded to do we even have the drainages to actually tackle this thing? But the bigger conversation then, yeah, it is a lot. It is
I had
tiring.
to exhale like
A lot
ah.
of times. Yes, it is tiring a lot of times. But then you look at the bigger cities like New York, uh, like Venice, like I gave earlier on, and see that these people are also struggling with the same
Flooding
issues that
issue.
we have, but on a different scale. Yes, they also have
So
flooding
how do they
issues,
manage their
but that
flood
is not
situation?
so. For them, they have money. In Venice, for example, they have a wall where they call Muse. I think it's Italian for Moses, and basically it means parting of the sea. So for every time the sea level rises, they raise these barriers up. It is like placed in the ocean. It is
Hmm.
MOSE, in case you want to do further research. So they just raise these barriers up, and it blocks the water from getting
Going
into the
through.
city.
Oh. But how many Mose
But
do we want to
yes,
have?
they have
Because
the
Lagos is Nigeria
exactly.
is waterlocked. Like Lagos itself is waterlocked. There's like we have so
Exactly.
many water situation from
Yes.
islands to dams and all of that.
So mhm. So that is why natural solutions are actually the best. Like planting of trees are actually the best, and actually preventing most of our waste from getting into the environment, cutting down on the usage of meat. And so there are so many things in this part of the world. Preaching maybe cutting down on meat is off topic.
Mm.
So for every solution, we have to localize our own solutions to suit our own reality. We have a different reality from those in New York, but we are just looking at them to model from them, learn
Mm.
from what they've been able to do, and just see how we can implement that locally. So I was trying to speak to individual action earlier, which I said first is awareness. You need to know what are you up against. Then the second thing is action. You need to take action on by yourself. So taking action involves minding the amount of electricity you use, minding how you dump your waste,
How does
minding the
electricity
amount
have?
of
How does
plastic.
it affect that?
Again, again, it is a very long chain of it's a long chain, but in simple terms, we get a lot of industries use coal for a lot of their for as a source of energy. So the more you consume electricity, the more we need to actually go back and get like generate more of that electricity to be
Mm.
transferred into homes. Yes, so for every it is because we are not well metered in this part of the world. That is why we just tend to disregard the whole thing, and we say, oh, it's estimated billing, let me use my electricity as much as I want to. But it is a resource, and resources are finite, they are not infinite. So
Mm.
the more we use it, we are not even generating enough. So the more we use what we are not even generating enough of, the more it dwindles, and the more we have to actually go back and produce more. And the processes of producing these things actually tend to release harmful chemicals and gases into the atmosphere, which goes back again our cycle of ozone layer, global warming, and all that. So everything we do is basically connected from just one single plastic bottle like you throw
Mm.
into the ocean something. Every single thing we can go on and on about how different things we actually disregard in our daily lives. So I was explaining something in a class recently, and it had to do with Lake Chad. Lake
Mm.
Chad is now something that used to be so big. It has dwindled to an area of less than about 1,500 square meters, and this is something that was over 20,000 um, like in areas wide. So that used to be a source of income for fishermen people used to fish there. Cows used to drink due to global warming, and a lot of those people there, they were left without jobs,
Mm.
and they were left open for terrorists to actually come and say, oh, they were like tools in the hands extremists who are causing a lot of insecurity around the north and across Nigeria as we speak. So you can see that this is actually also a connection between how climate change has actually caused an insecurity situation, because a lot of people were jobless. Did the government do a data count to say, oh, how many people had businesses here? How many people were surviving on Lake Chad? And what can we do to reintegrate them into the job market and actually help them transit from what they were doing before to what they need to be doing? Nothing like that was actually done or put in place. So all these things, basically, to try to not overwhelm us, let us like come back home. All these things are actually connected. So that was in trying to, so, and a lot of people were like, oh, they heard somewhere that climate change is actually a security issue, but they never knew how it was actually a security issue because it was not explained. So that is one way. And the cows too had to move. The nomads, the herders had to move their cows because there was no source of drinking water anymore for them. Grasses around where their cows could eat around the lake was drying up,
Mm.
desertification. So they had to move down south into people's farms, and that started a string. That is not the only source of insecurity, by the way, but it largely contributed to most of the insecurity. So desertification is one major thing, and Lake Chad is a excellent example of how this cycle of climate change again like goes round to become from an issue that we think is so far off that
Mm.
can't
Affect
we
us.
can't be influenced by it.
Mm.
Exactly. So an issue that has been affecting us for over 11 years now with the insecurity in the Northeast. So yeah.
Ooh, okay, that is actually a lot. Like I feel like at this point, let everybody. I think that must say the wall is going to. Everybody just have walls in the house, because at this point it's very necessary. Is it that we have walls or we start to build
Everyone should have a
arc?
what?
Everyone should have walls in the house, or you just start buying arc or start building arcs. I don't know. I don't know.
The time the time for building acts is too
It's too
late.
late. We still there's still small sun now, so we can take bidding asks 0700 903 9039. That is our WhatsApp number to actually calling and tell us, because today being Tuesday, it is the family conversation, and families are actually being displaced right now. Families are losing their source of income. People cannot go back to doing what they love to do. Too many things are happening, especially with this flawed situation, especially with this conversation that it seems like we are clueless about, because there's so many opinions, or so many of what people think is actually happening, but that's not what is happening. Like, we need to actually understand what is happening and just start to take accountability serious, because you said something here about being accountable. Like, it's when you know that, okay, I'm not supposed to
Yes.
empty my trash uh by the roadside. There are some places in Lagos that there's no even like there's no way to empty trash. Like, they just have this heap of trash in some certain
Exactly.
places, and then rain falls, it washes it off to the gutters, blocks the drainage system, and then there's no place for the water to go. It's just really messy. Like, the whole situation is just so funny, and I'm like, what is actually going on?
It is good. Yeah, it is actually good you made reference to this point because a lot of times in during engagements with community, you tend to understand that these people actually want to act, but they do not have the infrastructure to actually act. So you mentioned a lot of places in Lagos. The do PSP actually how effective are the local PSPs? Do they get to certain communities? There are a lot of places they do not go to, and there are issues that we can unpack as to why they
Mm,
actually do not go to those
those
communities. But
communities.
basically, not to. We're already yes. So if you can't, it's unfair to actually tell the people that do not have the infrastructure or the means to actually act, to tell them that, oh, stop burning your waste. Okay, so stop trading on the roadside. What is wrong? This is not a justification. The question is, so what should they do with it? How should they dispose of?
If
Oh,
they
they should wait
waste.
for PS.
Mm,
PSP does not go everywhere. Even within Lagos itself, we have not been had this thing. The PS actually service every community and every house. They do not service everywhere. So those people are left to fend for themselves. And that
mm.
is where projects that a lot of the, people in the development spaces do, where they actually take recycling to these people just as a form of waste reduction. So
Mm,
it means they can take out their plastics, they can take out everything that is recyclable. So the only thing they have to throw out is their organic waste.
the
And
organic
once you
waste,
throw
yeah.
organic waste out, it's of course yes, it is organic, so it is even good for the earth.
Mm,
So these are basically the issues where in in trying to blame somebody for not acting on climate change, you tend to look at yourself, especially as the second part of accountability is first be accountable to yourself, and the second part is hold accountable. Never the amount of action enough can never have the impact that the local government would actually have.
mm.
There is no two ways about it. No matter how rich, it doesn't matter how much the non-profits have, the impact of government on the people is actually greater than any external body. And that is why we actually need, as much as we fight them, we argue with them because, of course, these are things we do not need to force them to do because it is climate change and existential crisis that affect us too. So why are they not acting on these things? So we need governments to act. Like I mentioned one problem, which is infrastructure. People do not have the means to actually manage this waste they
Waste.
have.
Yeah.
So we need infrastructure. Exactly. So we need the infrastructure. We need to be able to adapt to a lot of these changes that are actually happening. So and yeah, government um, is supposed to actually take the lead in this. But while they are not taking the lead, we can't wait and relax. And say, oh, let's all not act until the flood comes and wipes us off.
Please don't
Let
let
we
it
need
wipe us
to
off.
be
I
responsible
beg.
to ourselves and to one. Am I breaking again?
Yes, you are. Can you take that again?
Okay, yeah. So I was just trying to say, while we hold government accountable and we know the how government is in this part of the world, I think yesterday or today there was a press release that
Is it from the Lagos State government?
we have 90 to come up with a adaptation plan to what is actually going on. 90, no, from the federal government actually. The president actually now. Give me 1 minute. I'll get his name. Not Bashir Ahmed. There's a second person. So it said we actually are going to have 90 days. So and it was quite shocking, and a lot of people have been reacting to that. So I'm just trying to pull out that tweet. They made it known on Twitter, and it was so. Yes, let me just.
Have you
Robert
gotten it?
Chase, give me. I'm just trying to get it so I can quote
Be
it
precise. Yeah.
word for word.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't.
Miss
I
Yan.
just don't remember his name. This exactly. You have to be careful not actually missing a lot of times. Uh,
Okay, while we wait for that, we're going to end this conversation very soon. But of course, you can send in your reactions and let us know. I mean, if you have friends or family in these places, people are saying, okay, it's minimal in Lagos, it's not that heavy in Lagos. But then again, it's actually closer than you think. We have neighboring states, or we have, what I say, the river locked or the water locked states being highly affected with this. We have states like Delta, we have states like Bayelsa, especially Bayelsa. There's a lot of people that have been displaced. There's a little or no conversation about IDP camps where people could stay, where people can stay, knowing that they need to get back on their feet, and all of this is happening. And then it looks like the rain is even becoming more like it's just erratic, like it stops now and then it continues again and then it stops now. Understanding fully well that there's still the dam situation, there's still the water situation, and now having to deal with that is like, what is going on? It's like,
yeah.
what exactly did we do wrong? So while we're waiting for while
I
we're
got it
waiting, oh, you
already.
got it. Oh, please go on. Please continue.
Yeah, so it's from Garba Shehu, who is the spokesperson
Spokesman.
to the
Mm,
president. Yes,
mm.
to the president, and just the headline is flood prevention. President Buhari gives minister
Oh,
90
I
days
saw
to
it.
produce a plan.
I saw it.
Yes, exactly. So why the question is, did we not? Floods happen every year. So previous years, we never had any plan. We never had any mitigation measures we could implement in case some of these things happen. And that goes back again to the intention behind a lot of the things we do and how we act towards this. Because 90 days, we are here in Lagos, we're able to say these things because we are not experiencing what people in Bayelsa,
I
Anambra, and about
experiencing.
30 other states are
Mm,
actually. Exactly. When you are in the midst of the I wanted to use a word, but we are on radio. When you're in the midst of the whole
situation.
devastation,
Mm,
And even one minute is the difference between life and death in
True.
this such emergency situation. So the results, the response should have been okay. This is our immediate short-term plans for mitigating
People
against
there,
these things.
yeah.
Then exactly. Then in 90 days, we would come up with a more comprehensive plan that is sustainable in the long run for us to implement in whatever phases we want to implement. But then again, this is Nigeria. It is good we have a lot of people who have been able to raise funding to donate to those who have been displaced by the effects of this flood. But yeah, I think if there is one single message we can take from this is that first we need to know in order to act, then we need to take action before we can hold anybody accountable. We need to be able to take action in our own small way. Action could be awareness, action could be telling the next man that, oh, this thing you are doing is actually harmful. Action could be writing to whatever waste management body you have. Just like get your community together, write letters to them, tell them, oh, we do not have a proper way of disposing our
A
waste. Why
waste.
don't you people
Mm.
come in? Exactly. So action is about engaging. You don't just give up on your government. You have to actually engage, no matter, regardless of how terrible or how awful or how angry with them or at them we are. We we are in a situation where we must actually work together with them, and power only listens to power. You can't just as one person just shout, you just keep screaming.
Mm.
But if you do it united as a community, as a group, as an association or whatever, they would actually listen to you, because of course every 4 years they need something from you.
I like the end part of
But
your conversation. Every
beyond
4 years,
that,
they need
of course,
something
the
from you.
primary message is for us to
Mm.
always in our own small. Exactly. So keep on there. Every day we need to learn and see how
You're breaking
we
again. You're breaking again. You're breaking again.
can
But thank you so much for all that you.
do
Can you
our
hear me now?
own in our own little way contribute to fighting climate change, basically. Oh my God. Okay.
It's
I think
fine.
we have just 4 minutes.
Yeah, we just have to wrap up. Yeah, but I think it's better now. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Hello.
You can go. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Saying something.
I'm saying thank you so much. I actually took a lot from this conversation, and this is one conversation that we're having, especially to support people that are in river locked areas, or when I say water locked areas, in places where they have no drainage system, or better still, they are paying zero attention to that. People that are emptying their trash cans by the roadside, and they just have it heap upon heap very close to the house or where they live, and there's nobody taking responsibility for that. So this is to spoil you, knowing fully well that it's actually closer than we think. Yeah, and you don't want to be that person that is losing their property, that's losing their livelihood, their means of would I say, their schools, their businesses. You don't want to be that person that is just like, you literally have nothing, like the flood is going to take everything away. So that's where we need to come in as human beings. That's where we need to come in as team players. And I really like that you said we should write to the government, we should write to people that are whose job it is, yeah, and not in a way to. I mean, we know there's so many things going on in the country. Like coming down to work, like I was saying earlier, was a hassle, because I'm like, what is happening? Is it like there's no fuel, or is it for scarcity, or are they hoarding the fuel? Like, what is going on? And this is ember season, where a lot of commercial activities have been heightened because there's a lot of people going in and out of the country. Yeah, there's a lot of concert and a lot of this, a lot of that. That's happening in December. Yes, we get that. But even now, like, if by October we have issues with fuel, what is going to happen in December? Well, we have all of these things, and we now have to still battle with the what I say, we're fighting for our lives. We're fighting to stay alive, especially with the rain situation, with the change going on and everything. I think this is just a conversation of hope, knowing that, you know what, just because it's not happening to us in Lagos as much as it's happening to people in Delta, in Bayelsa, in Cross River, and the likes, doesn't mean we're safe. This is not, we're not safe. That's the honest truth. And this is not some message to get us scared or to keep us in a place of constantly checking, oh, what's it going to be like tomorrow? Is it really going to fall today? Like, this is us preventing it before it even happens. So when rain falls, it's going to be showers of blessings. And it's not just us trying to fight for our lives. Do you understand me? So if you were to wrap up this conversation, I mean, know that you've spoken about action, you've spoken about accountability, you've spoken about awareness. What would you summarize, or would I say everything in a nutshell? Are you there? Hello?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so
Yes, I am.
I was saying, okay, please go on, please go on. I'm very sure you heard me.
Yes, I think you were saying if I was to um,
I mean, being an
wrap up the
environmentalist, yeah,
conversation.
from your
Yeah,
own, from where
so
you stand.
I think there is an importance of passing a single message in every conversation. So it's not like we pour so many onto people and
Mm,
then everybody leaves and say, "Oh, that was an excellent conversation." Then what
mm.
did you take
What
out
did
from
you
it?
take out
Then
from it?
you start hearing the M's, and so in summary, basically, I would still go back to individual action. How um, using traveling by planes are actually a large, so as much as if you can prevent planes or private flying private, a lot of people will scream again.
Does that
You
affect
should
it?
actually do that. Yes, it does. Planes are actually they emit a lot of carbon, so they actually a whole lot of carbon planes emit. So you can reduce, reuse, recycle the things
Mm,
around your homes. You can change your home source of energy to energy light saving bulbs, or
yeah.
every electrical appliance could be energy saving. That
Mm,
helps. You could actually throw away less food. So, so these are just basically little things you can do in your own way. You could walk more, bike more, take public transports more. Again, we don't have the infrastructure that would attract a lot of people to public transports, but we actually need to do that. Or we just carpool. So you have 4 or 5 people going towards the same direction. It is good to just share a car instead
mm.
of having multiple cars on the
On the
road
road.
and contributing more to, yes, more to emission. Then these are the part of our own action. So these are just about 4 or 5, so we don't get overwhelmed with it. Then the other part is accountability. Again, I do not like exempting government from anything. So, but it starts with us ourselves. You can't hold somebody accountable until you have acted on things. So while you are taking your own action in your own little way, you are learning, you are cutting down on your wastage across board, everything, the clothes you use, the food you eat, electricity, every single thing. We also need to actually hold the government accountable by engaging them in different ways that you can, basically. So I think that's basically my message: individual action and holding the government accountable. Yeah.
All
And it's a
right.
solvable crisis. Actually, it is not something that there is no solution to. There's
Mm.
actually a solution to, and we 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 can only hope to do better, and we'll definitely do better. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Muniro Adams. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this. I have learned a whole lot from this conversation. And hopefully, I mean, hopefully, people would do better. And I actually would. I mean, I'm going to try and throw less food away. I don't throw food away to start with, so I'm not even going to start or act like I do. But of course, this conversation has been one helpful one. It has been an enlightening conversation, and hopefully, I mean, know that we cannot build the Mose law that it is in other parts of the country. We're going to start with our own little way and do what we can do to actually make it a better place. Because the honest truth is, even if some people have Japa plans, those that don't have Japa plans are here. And You never know. You never know. But thank you so much. Have yourself a beautiful night rest. Thank you for being a part of this with me. I know it was pretty inconvenient with the network doing the most, but thank you for pulling through to the end of the conversation. All right.
Thank you so much for having me,
You're
Koko, and
welcome.
to everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Have yourself a splendid night rest.
You too.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. 0700 903 903 903. Now we can take 1-2 calls before we get to the second segment of the show. Yes, it is Monday and it is Family Life Monday, where we talk about issues that affect us as a family, understanding that family is the most important unit in the society. I mean, if you want to change anything in society, you definitely need to start from the family. You need to get it right with the family. The moment it has been implemented and executed excellently well with the family unit, then it can be a societal change that we're looking forward to. But before then, we are still talking about the flood issue and a whole lot of reactions here on WhatsApp. Yes, I have taken a few of them, but you can also send me your reaction. You can do that via our WhatsApp line, that is 0700 903 9039, or better still, put a call through to me and tell me how this flood situation has affected probably your business or a customer or a client that you send out products and you render services to in that part of the country. And it's like, you know what, I feel like this is how it has affected me, or this is what we can do better, this is how we can help the situation, the drainage issue especially, because I feel like that is one of our major issues in Lagos. I mean, before this whole Kanji Dam thingy happening, Lagos and drainage is always a problem. And then I'm even seeing, because I saw a video of Williams Chamber, like I said earlier, speaking about the rise in sea level of Third Mainland Bridge, and I'm like, wait, what is happening? Like, I don't understand what is happening. Like, what is happening, Lagos people? We need to understand this. 0700 903 9039. We're going to wrap up this segment very, very soon. So you can put a call through 0700 903 9039. My name is the Lady Kofo, and of course you're listening to the Late Night Show on Voice of the People 90.3 FM.
Award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and Coldberry ice cream, delight in every scoop. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and Coldberry ice cream at 11 Road by First Avenue, Festac Town, 28 at Denira Ogunsanya Street, Surulere, 13 Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Romeo's Pizza and Coldberry ice cream. Romeo, the pizza champions.